Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield myself as much time as I may consume.
Gentlelady is recognized.
As the co-chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, along with my colleague, Ms. Lynn Woolsey,
Committee will be in order. Gentlelady may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Along with my colleague from California, Congresswoman Lynn Woolsey, I co-chair the Congressional Progressive Caucus. And let me just take a moment to acknowledge our co-chair, Congresswoman Woolsey, whose hard work, whose brilliant intellect, and whose soaring spirit really is with us today, even though she's at home recuperating very well from back surgery. She'll be back very soon to continue to fight to bring our young men and women home from Iraq. I rise today to offer the Congressional Progressive Caucus budget. We call it our anti-poverty, pro-opportunity, peace, and security budget. Budgets really are moral documents. They provide a roadmap to identify and invest in our nation's values and our priorities. The CPC alternative budget reflects our American mainstream values by making the right investments to fight poverty, to grow our economy, to assist survivors of Hurricane Katrina, to bring common sense to our national security budget, and to redeploy our troops and military contractors from Iraq. Our budget does so in a way that not only balances our priorities, but balances the federal budget. Our budget stands in stark contrast to the President's very cynical proposal that he presented to us last month. The progressive budget rejects the President's budget and its attack on working families, minority communities, and many of our most vulnerable populations like seniors and low-income individuals. The progressive budget rejects the President's ongoing occupation of Iraq that's costing taxpayers $12 billion each month. And the progressive budget rejects the President's $200 billion cuts to Medicare and Medicaid that would raise premiums for our nation's seniors and cut payments to the doctors and hospitals who serve them. Our budget is different. It faces the poverty crisis in America head-on, starting with redress and reconstruction for Gulf Coast victims of Hurricane Katrina. It is designed to reverse the Iraq recession by providing a vital stimulus to jumpstart the economy. It is the only budget that brings common sense to national security by reinvesting the President's bloated defense funding request for the Pentagon, the highest since World War II. The progressive alternative will provide at least $551 billion for domestic, non-military discretionary spending in FY09. $131.9 billion above the President's request. As part of this increase in domestic discretionary spending, the Progressive Caucus budget also includes $73 billion to develop a sustained, coordinated public-private sector strategy that recommits America to a renewed war on poverty. This will cut the poverty rate in America in half in a decade. This goal is in line with HCON Res 198, a resolution that I introduced which passed unanimously in the House in January. We have budgeted the dollars to bring millions of children out of poverty by expanding the Earned Income Tax Credit for larger families and making the Child Tax Credit fully refundable for any family earning more than $3,000. It will also finally begin to fully redress the continuing plight of the survivors of Hurricane Katrina. Our alternative will provide the funds for the housing and the health care, education, and infrastructure investment and the vital social services needed to bring people back to Louisiana and Mississippi. Our budget would also immediately provide $118 billion to fund the most effective stimulus programs available to the government. We extend unemployment insurance, food stamp benefits, and critical Medicaid payments to states that will only help keep state governments solvent, but keep more workers healthy and productive. The economic stimulus package will include assistance for low-income and unemployed people that were ignored by the first stimulus. Additionally, the CPC budget provides foreclosure relief and includes new investments to rebuild our nation's schools, fix our highways and bridges, and build new affordable housing. These initiatives will create jobs that will help keep more families in their homes. Now, all of these vital programs will be a down payment on our Rebuild and Reinvest in America initiative. This long-term, sustainable project will create green jobs, reinvigorate our schools, and foster a new commitment to excellence in our students. We will repair our water, power, and transportation systems so that America can not only compete in the global economy, but once again lead. The progressive budget also brings common sense to national security spending, providing $468 billion, which is $68 billion under the President's bloated request. Our budget cuts government waste, fraud, and abuse, and eliminates outdated and ineffective Cold War-era weapon systems that were developed to fight an enemy that really no longer exists. Most importantly, the CPC budget will end the occupation of Iraq by rapidly and safely redeploying our troops and military contractors. We have wasted far too much money on this occupation already, over $500 billion to date. We cannot afford to spend another $3 trillion that some have estimated this will take. So this budget achieves all of these goals and brings the federal budget, mind you, into balance by FY 2012, and upon the completion of our Reinvest and Rebuild America initiative, back into balance in 2018. I urge this body to reject the President's draconian cuts to vital programs for working American families and to support the CPC's alternative budget. Thank you, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentlelady